Are you on mute?
I can't hear you.
Yeah, she's gone. She switched herself off.
Good afternoon, everybody. You would have thought by now that I would remember to take myself off of mute, but clearly I didn't. So, hello, everybody. Welcome to the Simply Together show on the 7th of November. It's a bit cloudy out there. It's a little bit chilly-ish, but we're November. So, what do we expect? Anyway, I am hosting today with the lovely Samara. How are you doing?
Oh, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I am good. So we have got two guests today. Olive's going to be coming on at some point, but we have got Anita. So I'm going to talk to Anita, and then Samara's going to talk to Olive when Olive is with us. So Anita, how are you doing?
Hi, Dee. I'm good, thanks, and thanks for the invitation.
Oh, you're more than welcome. More than welcome. So, tell me a little bit about you. What do you do?
Okay, so basically, I run a company called Crimson Cats with a Z, with my twin sister Anita. My background basically is fitness over 30 years, but not only that, I'm also a professional spiritual wellness declutterer and Feng Shui consultant and Law of Attraction Master Coach for women. Which means I help women basically with their 4 rooms, the mental, physical, spiritual and emotional rooms. And everything that we do, we encompass that to help women gain abundance and prosperity in their lives.
Wonderful. I'm loving this. I'm a therapist. So to hear these things that you're saying is absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So how long have you been doing this then?
So, well, the company's begun on since 2009. In regards to decluttering, we're always decluttering in our life anyway. But I became a professional declutterer in 2016, and also Law of Attraction coach as well. And it was just a case of, because of my story, which I have on the website and everything else that goes with it, removing myself from toxic environment, people, situation, and finding my own spirituality with my crystals and so on, and how I do things with my life. I also found that a lot of women were struggling with moving forwards and not detaching from the old stuff from the past, and also just having fear of letting go of things that no longer serve them. So we ended up, and in regards to the fitness aspects, that's the physical aspect as well as decluttering being a physical aspect as well. So I fit that in along with what I do. I still teach classes, I teach yoga, Pilates, so anything that helps people holistically and helps women holistically is a bonus, and especially women in menopause too.
Again, fantastic. Got my crystals, love a crystal, love all of that, absolutely love it. So do you want to give us a little bit about your journey then? Because you said you've got your journey on the website. Tell us a bit about your journey.
Yeah, so basically back in 2010, I was going through the menopause. I didn't even know. I had a sort of feeling, but then also, I wasn't sure if I was pregnant or going through menopause or being perimenopausal. I was also in a toxic relationship as well, and I feared moving forwards from that. I feared that if I stepped forwards, everything would crash down in front of me and I wouldn't know how to deal with it. And I think also when you're going through perimenopause as well, your head isn't quite, in the great space. I went to hospital several times, poked and prodded, you name it, and they didn't even diagnose me until, about 2 years later, 3 years later. Then they said, oh yeah, by the way, you're perimenopausal, going into menopause. And even by then I had done all my research on it. And back then as well, there wasn't a lot out there. Doctors, GPs didn't know what to do. And some of them still don't know what to do with women going through menopause. And I started with HRT. Had to get something going because I was going through memory, like brain fog. going through putting on loads of weight, even though I was a fitness professional. So I was looking like complete opposite of what I should be looking like, if that makes sense. And also it was a case of the anger, the anger part had mood swings, and also not being happy within myself, also related to the environment I was in. And it wasn't until 2016 I took that leap of faith, and in between that I discovered the law of attraction, but from my sister, because she's always had this, attract like for like mindset, and I didn't. So what I was bringing in was complete opposites of what she was bringing in, and I was struggling because I was still working in the business, but I was, struggling to keep my health in check, and also struggling to try and move forwards and also bring in the positive, energy. And it was because of that. And when I did understand the law of attraction and I started putting things into place, the universe kept giving me signs, signs, do this, do that, do that. And I kept ignoring them even then, until 2016, when I stepped out of my comfort zone, stepped out of my fear, and I moved forwards. Decluttered in 4 days, 10 years worth of stuff. And I kind of just was like, okay, I need to put this in storage and chuck away that. And, my sister helped me for a couple of those days as well. Moved forwards, found somewhere to live. Then I kept decluttering and moving. So it got to a point where I was like, I'm really good at this. And it feels great as well. And, not just physically, but also mentally, it felt great. And when I was decluttering as well, all my crystals that had dispersed and hidden themselves all came back to me. Wow. I was opening things and I was like, oh my gosh, my crystals, because I was also with somebody who never believed in crystals, so things like that also don't help you if there's no balance. So everything was getting away from me, and I was forgetting, my spirituality part, my roots of, what I believe in and things like that. And then when it got to a point of moving and decluttering and thinking, my gosh, if I can do this, and it had taken years for me to step out of my fear zone, so I do understand that. And I thought, well, if I can do this, oh my gosh, I got qualification in it, and I also I'm with the ADPO, Association Decluttering Professional Organisers. So I was like, oh my gosh, I can help women do this. And this is what I found as well. So last year, especially when I was doing decluttering jobs, a lot of women struggled to let go of things that are holding them back from the past. There were things in their garage or holding on to photos of people that no longer serve them, and especially people who are negative towards them. They were holding on to things like that, also holding on to things in their wardrobes and stuff, and hiding things that they thought they might need 2 years later. And because of that struggle, I also found that not just being a professional declutterer, but also being a professional spiritual wellness declutterer served them better. And I could then implement all of my stuff that I've learned and all the stuff that I've been through, and also empathize with them while going through this journey, in order for them to step forwards and, bring in the abundance and prosperity they deserve. As simple as that.
Do you know, I am speechless today. I really am speechless. It's absolutely brilliant. I mean, we all need one of you then. There's many of us that need one of you and your sister. I think I need that in my life. So how do people know that that's the step they need to take?
In what? In regards to decluttering in a spiritual sense?
Yeah.
I think it's when everything is stagnant and nothing is changing. And I know this is a thing, because a lot of people don't like change. Yeah. But if they're doing this, if they're on the hamster wheel consistently, and nothing is changing, and they're still attracting the same type of relationship, the same type of people, as a community, and they're also sharing things with people with a negative mindset, that is when you need to do something about it. to find your tribe, to remove things from your life, to remove people from your life in a good way, so it's not, you know, bad karma. And also when you do, and when, you know, you have got loads of stuff around you that you haven't, you know, used, or it's broken and things like that, and that's what I cover in the event. It's like all these things that are around you, people forget their environment is part of them. It's a reflection, because when you don't have certain things in your life from within you, you need to see what is blocking, what is covering that space, that's where you could move it in order to bring something new in, because that something new, that newness will be what serves you, and it will have a purpose. There are loads of things around us that don't serve a purpose, but objects which is energy, need to have that purpose. They need to be there for a reason, and it has to be a positive reason rather than a negative reason too. So yeah.
So obviously, as I said, I'm a therapist, so I do a lot of that work with clients, you know, talking to them, exploring what's going on with them, etc., etc., etc. Right. I wasn't due to be on the show today.
Oh, okay.
There was going to be a different host. I'm here for a reason. And
everything happens.
The reason is you. Deez just said, Cecile Terrelong is hardly speechless. I am speechless because this is exactly what I needed to hear right now.
Right.
Because I've got clutter.
Okay.
I've got emotional clutter. I've got, and I'm here. That's why. Oh, no, you didn't know that, Dee Bailey. You did not know that I needed to be here. But yes. Yeah. So I'm listening to you in the respect of clients and client work that I do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also listening for myself.
Yeah.
So yes, wonderful.
And I always say, you know, there's always a reason you meet somebody. Yeah. Or you meet people and things like that, and it's the universe, and whether people believe it or not, that doesn't bother me. But you know, law of attraction is you know, a universal law, and it's just a case like thoughts. You know, anything that you project out, you do get back. So I always say, be careful what you say and how you say it. You know, think about it before you say it, because you can't get it back. You can't take it back. And I just feel that so many people out there hold emotional clutter. And especially emotional clutter, and it can be through objects, it can be through things, it can be through energy, it can be a case of you know, photos, it could be, you know, it's just anything and everything you look around you, you remember something from it, and it may be a good trigger, it may be a bad trigger. And if it's a bad trigger, then you remove it. There are ways of dealing with it. There are ways of doing that, which I cover again in the event as well. And, you know, and it's just a case of like I just want the best for people. If I know I can do it and I can move forwards and I can, you know, create something better for myself and, you know, also attract good people around me, then I know everyone else can. But I know there are also loads who procrastinate, because they feel that it may be overwhelming, and that's okay, because that's my job. I come in and help people do that. But also, when you procrastinate as well, you are still sitting in old energy. You're still sitting in stale energy and nothing is moving, which is a shame. And there are loads of places in the house, and especially in specific rooms, again, I'll go into that in the event, but in specific rooms where you hold certain things. And I just feel that people need to look around them, and the places they've forgotten, they need to revisit. Like, for example, the garage. Somebody said to me, oh, yeah, but the garage is out there. It's not in the house. So it doesn't affect me, does it? Well, no, yes, it does. It does affect you, because you've still got stuff in there that you've been hiding, you've been putting away and ignoring, because you think, oh, it's just an outlet, I can just shove it in there, take the door down, lock it and forget about it. But I'm like, no, so at some point you're going to have to go to it and see what you've got in there, because there may be, again, loads of triggers, bad stale energy, and also things that no longer serve them, but they're still attracting it in and around the house. So remember, there's energy around the house as well, because you've got to think about how you, when you go home, how do you feel? You know, at the end of the day, is there something still connected to the house that, because the houses have stories at the end of the day, you know, and, you know, you may not know who you bought the house from. So we also do a clearing, you know, use specific things to do that. And it's just that when people forget about that and then they go in and then they start attracting certain energies, they need to understand why they're doing that, and also try and find out from the estate agent or whoever who was living there beforehand. Try not to, you know, try not to make them go, oh no, but, you know, there are things that, you know, things that happen, and you need to just know the history and what went on, if there was anything. And, you know, because sometimes it could be a case of like somebody had a bad relationship, for example, and they're in that home, and then they moved because they split and they moved and they sold the house, you know. So again, you may attract a specific relationship or have more arguments than usual in that home because of what happened previously. And I also do the Feng Shui part, because like everything is energy. We need to move, you know, open the windows, things like that. But not only that, it's placements, elements, it's objects. You know, where is your bed facing? And, you know, where's the door? Are you facing it? Is there something behind you? Is there an obstacle? Do you have like a white tiger, green dragon? Do you have a black turtle in the back of your garden? Where does the water flow? Because I also douse as well. So, you know, there are so many different placements in the home. And using a Bagua map as well, we're looking at the financial aspect of the home. We're looking at the relationship part of the home. So there's certain rooms that, you know, represent that. And, you know, and it's things like that I cover when I go off to declutter someone's home. Because I always ask them if they want a Feng Shui consultancy thing going, and they always say, yeah, or can you do something with that? And when we look at storage and organizing as well, because when you declutter, you know, you don't want to do the same thing like you've done before and then have to re-declutter again. I always say decluttering is about twice a year usually. But if you're only just starting up with it, it may be 4 or 5 times a year, until you get to a point where everything is organized and put in a specific way that you don't have to deal with that so much. You know, I love decluttering. Obviously it's my job, but I do love decluttering. That's why I do it. It's a passion, because I love seeing things move from one place and given to another. So it's like donating stuff, selling stuff. I did a declutter challenge, which is completely different to the one I'm doing now. But this was last year, I think, last July. I did just a general declutter, and we sold stuff, and I made like 700 quid from it.
Wow.
You know, and it's like, oh, okay. And my sister made, I think it was like 300, 400. Another client made something else, another participant, something else. And I was like, it works. Because when you donate, when you sell, when you give something to your neighbor if they need it, you know, all that kind of stuff is, you know, a purpose. Because the objects all have a purpose. They will have somewhere to go. And also, when you look at objects, some might be really sad because it's energy. It may be really sad energy. If you're not using things, they're probably sitting there really sad, feeling they have no use for anything. And I know I'm talking to them like they're people or humans, whatever, but they do have that specific energy. You know, if you look at the colours as well, because I cover the colours and how colours are represented in Feng Shui, but not only that, when it comes to clothing, as well as objects and what you need to look for, what you need to remove, what you need to put away, you know. And everybody is funny, because when it's your clutter and it's sitting there, if you're tripping over something, you know, it's very easy to say, oh yeah, I'll deal with that another time, and then chuck it somewhere else. And it's like, no, do something with it. If it's no purpose, remove it, put it somewhere, or give it to somebody who wants it. Otherwise, you know, you'll keep repeating everything you're doing each time. Yeah, it's a constant.
Because you declutter, and then for some people, they then fill it up with something else. Whereas actually, you need to declutter and leave that, and not just put the same stuff back again. Right. So tell us about the event. Tell us about the event you've got.
Okay. So firstly, the event, I've run it about 3 times now this year. And the event is Declutter Your Home, Declutter Your Life. The last one for 2023 is starting on Monday, the 27th of November. It runs from Monday to Friday, so finishes Friday, 1st December. And it is 7 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. per night. If people can't make it, and it is for women only as well, okay, because I find I use this as a safe space for them to air anything they need to air, okay, because sometimes the emotional aspects can be, they may not want to share it with all and sundry, but it'll only be for the group who are online. If they can't make it, there's a replay that I send out after the events, okay, and the replay then comes down a few days afterwards. In the event, I cover specific rooms. I cover the house and around it. I cover objects. We also I end up covering the wardrobe, specific colors, clothing, the emotional ties, aspects, the crystal work. And at the end, we then create something that is specific for them. Okay, one thing that is specific for them, as long as they've done the work. I don't expect everybody to get it all done in 7 days or 5 days or whatever. It's a continuous thing. Okay, it's a continuous process. And then they have a choice if they want to do the course afterwards or if they want coaching afterwards. That's up to them. But the event is solely for them to get moving, step out of their comfort zone, start getting into looking at their stuff in a different way. And then also then building up to the fact that once they've done the work, they then are able to then create this specific thing for them, because it could be that their fur baby has passed away, or a person, or it could be because they've got the emotional pent up frustration, they want to release, and this specific thing at the end of on the 5th day will help them do that. I also have like bonuses in there that they can take away, and also like a meditation, affirmation meditation that they do with me online as well. So there's so many different aspects for them to take in and absorb and work with as well. Oh, so yes, I'm looking. So I do love the event. I do love what I do, and I do love seeing women move forwards and change and gain all this abundance and prosperity, because that's another thing as well. I help them when they start removing things, they start winning things, they start attracting good things, and I get testimonials as well. So I find out what's happened with them, how they've moved forwards, and what they've got out of it and things like that. And it's amazing. It's, and I'm just so happy that they've done the work, because it is a task. And I will say there's no attraction without action. You can't attract something without doing something about it first. If you're gonna sit down and just say yeah, and not do it, well, you're still going to be sitting there going yeah, and not get anywhere for it, or not get anything from it. So when these ladies come up online, and we sometimes it goes over half an hour, sometimes because of the questions and that, and that's absolutely fine with me, and I love answering and helping and getting them to move forwards. And then they tell me what they've done during even the 5 days, I've started this and I've done that and blah blah blah. And I just think it's amazing, because I incorporate decluttering, I incorporate Feng Shui, I incorporate law of attraction. 3 elements, because I cover 3 elements, because I always find just decluttering is not enough. Just with Feng Shui consultancy or just doing Feng Shui specific things, it's okay, but there's got to be something with that, and that is the law of attraction. So all those 3 things I put in, so you get 3 in 1 on the event, basically. That's
fantastic. I need to stop you there because we've got our other guests to come on, but that is absolutely brilliant. All the details are on the bottom of our screen anyway, but it's also on our page as well. So, you know, the event, so they can go through your Facebook as well as having a look at ours to see how to sign up for the event.
Yes, and also our website, crimsoncats.com.
Wonderful. So don't disappear. If we get a chance, we'll bring you back on the end. But I need to hand over to Samara. But I'm going to be signing up. I am going to be signing up. Absolutely loved it. Thank you for sharing with us. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Over to you, Samara.
Very much. I actually love the concept of decluttering. I'm not going to lie. I was listening backstage, and I'm here for it as well because there's a lot I need to declutter spiritually. You know, so you'll probably hear from me too.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
Hi everybody. Hi Olive. How are you? Oh, you're on mute, darling. I think you're on mute. Bless you. It should be on your along the bottom of your screen, the little microphone. Lovely. Well done. Can you speak again? Sorry, I can't really hear you. It's really quiet. Is that me now? Hold on. I don't know if it's me, my side.
No, I think it's really quiet. I can just about hear something. I'll try to.
Yeah, I can't really hear. It sounds like it's coming through my little speaker on top of my phone, but it wasn't because I can hear you clearly.
Yeah.
Do you want to try and hop off and hop back on? Do you want to see if that helps?
Yeah, because it sounded like the speaker was kind of working, but you kind of get like a little bit of a thing, don't you?
Yeah. You're not in headphones, are you? Are you in headphones? I can't see headphones. No, AirPods.
No. Yeah, I just tried to If I then remove you, Olive, and then you log back on again and see whether that works.
Brilliant. Whilst we're waiting, has anyone started Christmas shopping? Anyone? I have. Have you started Christmas shopping, Shelley?
I've done a few bits. But then I'm also then doing the baking and the kind of stuff like that. So I've got ideas for biscuits and the Christmas Eve boxes and all that kind of bits and pieces going on.
Fair enough.
You say about decluttering, don't you? I can't show you my table at the moment. The boxes with the Christmas cutters and everything are out and just stacked there at the minute.
Guys, comment down below if you've started your Christmas shopping. I have to because my daughter was born in November, end of November, so I have to be like 10 steps ahead to make sure that everything is organised. But let us know down below if you've started your Christmas shopping. January. Oh my gosh, I love Christmas. I actually love it. I can never wait until Halloween's gone because I don't celebrate Halloween. I could just never wait.
So you're straight into it. It's like autumn and then that's it. Hopefully.
Hello, can we hear you? No, on my side.
We could just about hear you, but not. It's gone really. I don't know quite why. I can adjust your mic from here, but then what then comes through is just very, very,
faint.
Very, very quiet. Yeah. That's a shame. I'm not quite sure.
Olive, do you have another device to try by any chance? No? Can you sign in on log in on a different device? You're on mute, darling. We can't really hear. Hmm? Maybe if she logs it, I don't know what device she's on. If she's got a phone, she can log on her phone or a laptop. Or
I think you're on your laptop, aren't you?
she's going to try and log in on her phone.
Guessing, yeah.
Does the 26th of November ring any bells to you on your baking diary whilst we're here?
26th. What would that be? Would that be a certain person's birthday?
And she will kill me if you're not the one cooking that cake. She will not be happy.
But it's what style of cake are we going for? Because we have had all pink. We have had.
Do you know, her birthday theme this year is pink, rose gold, white, and butterflies, gold butterflies. That's her theme this year. She wants the similar cake to her 5th birthday with the massive lollipop. That's all she cares.
Lollipops.
Is the massive lollipop. So still just down that road, loads of pink, gold if you have it.
This cake was just all pink chocolate, big huge lollipops, lumps. Yeah, it had all the sweeties and the stuff on the top.
Pink and white mushrooms were on there. There was glitter on there. I remember
there was a lot of glitter. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. All edible glitter. It is edible glitter.
It was a good cake.
Glittergate.
Good.
Deez asking what have you been up to? Because we haven't seen you for a while.
Me? Oh, guys. So firstly, I've been looking after my mental health because I think that's really important. So that is the truth. That is why you've not really seen much of me, because I have to be true to myself and I have to be really honest. I can't be on a platform like this and not be honest with you, because you know how Auntie D is, Simply Deez. It's a real show. You have to be real, and I don't think I could be real without crying on here if I came on here before my time, to be honest. So firstly, I've been dealing with my mental health, which has been quite a journey. I am back singing, so I had my first gig last weekend. It was really good. So I sang at the Hope Gala Ball, led by Yvonne Michelle. And it was supporting women who have survived and been victims of domestic abuse. So it was also a Black History event, and there was loads of, like, you know, amazing women just dotted around the room, picture form. You know, Mary Seacole, a load of them, Rosa Parks. They were just dotted around the room, and it was just a really nice place to be. There was also a board that was one of my favorite parts of the evening that said, what would you say to your younger self? And you had to write, what advice would you give to your younger self? You had to write down what you say. And that was just lovely. The responses on there were great. So obviously I'm a mum, so I've been looking after my 2 children. My youngest is now in school full time, which makes me feel mega old, considering I feel like I gave birth to him last week. So, you know, that just goes to show to you that
he's proper little man now.
Yeah, when you're having fun, but time flies. So I've come to realise time flies when you're raising somebody. That's when you kind of really slaps you in your face. So yeah, my mental health has been a priority for me. That's why a lot of you haven't seen me. And I'm trying to get back into my singing. I have got an audition on Monday. I don't want to say a lot about it on here in case, but I'm trying to really...
You put it out in the air, as we were just talking earlier, energies, you've put it out there that you've got an audition. So yes.
Confident. So I've put it out there because I'm confident. I feel... I'm hoping that it's my time now, you know, like concerning that. I put a lot of myself to one side to raise my children mainly, firstly. So that's been the main thing. Yes, Olive, can we hear you?
Hopefully.
I'm hoping you can.
I was getting really worried then. You just saved me, Olive.
This is my phone. My computer. I shall have a notice on my computer that says, this does not like StreamYard.
Bless you. We are so glad to have you. For those of the people on here that don't know who you are, please just address everybody, let them know who you are and what you do, please.
I'm a health and learning coach, and I spend my life, it's mainly in learning differences and how we can work with neurodivergent children and adults and enable them to be exceptional.
Love that. So how did you come to start this, for people that don't know?
Well, firstly, I always had poor literacy when I was a kid. So I went and did a maths degree, joke, at university because I couldn't write and spell. And I have never used the maths degree, I have to admit, since the day I left. And so that was, I stumbled into getting a degree, although I'd got really poor literacy. And it wasn't until I was 50 that I stumbled over something that was teaching people who are struggling with literacy how to improve their literacy. And it's very simple, and I'll explain it to you, is that people who are good at literacy have pictures in their head of words. So if you want to spell the word giraffe, and this applies to all the audience, can you just look up and see the word? Or if that's too difficult, try the word cat. But the people who are good at literacy all the time have mental images of words. And I didn't know this fact. And so I learnt it in a training course when I was 50. I went into my local special needs school 2 days later, where I happened to know the deputy head teacher. And I said, I think I've just learnt something that could really help your kids who've got spelling and reading difficulties. And I had no training. I had 10 minutes training in this, I should point out. But then I'm neurodivergent and I'm a bit of a cavalier. And so he said, yeah, we've got hundreds. Which ones do you want? And so I used to go up there for an hour or so once a week, and I'd see a few kids. And I was absolutely blown away by what I could achieve with these kids. And they could come in without being able to spell or read at all. And they could, 6 weeks later, they were really quite proficient.
Wow.
And so that's what started me off. And so I've published books on the subject, I've run training courses, and then I've moved on to ADHD, which is so popular at the moment. And a lot of the kids who are doing ADHD, certainly as children, have got, if you look at why they are so stressed and why they're having such a difficult time, it's quite often something like dyslexia behind it. So you deal with that, and then you come back to the ADHD and go, right, what else do we need to do to help them with that?
Wow, amazing. I think I've actually seen you before. I do remember now, because as soon as you mentioned the images, the mental images, I remember having this conversation. I think I've spoken to you before about that, or I've watched you on the show and I've been another host. I can't quite remember, but
Yeah.
You said that. What advice would you give to parents that maybe identify that in their children? I know you said that it's not, it could be for adults as well, but for children in particular, what advice would you give firsthand to any parent that may be watching now that can maybe identify the difficulties in their child?
Okay. Well, firstly, they won't have any difficulty identifying the difficulties, because even by the age of 6, they're really struggling. And I would first of all talk to them about mental images. These are the pictures you hold in your head. So, for example, I might let me just ask you a question or two, and this is the sort of thing they can ask to their children. Right. So, when you think of, you've got a daughter, haven't you?
I've got a son and a daughter. Yeah.
You've got a son and a daughter. When you think of your daughter, what colour hair has she got?
Light brown.
And what is she wearing?
Well, her uniform now.
Right. And an audience, did you notice that Samara looked up to see the pictures? So that's where your pictures are. Her eyes flashed up to dark brown hair, and then she flashed up to the school uniform. And can you tell me what colour the school uniform is?
Green.
Right, okay. Is it all green, or is it got any white on it, or anything
No,
like that?
the white polo, grey trousers or grey dress skirt, and then green.
There you go. So you're building up a picture. So that's what you do first of all with a child, is get them talking about their pictures so that they feel comfortable talking about them. And you can ask them anything. You can ask them about their favorite doll or teddy bear, or what happened in school today, or what was the teacher wearing, anything. Just get them talking about their pictures and get them to realize that they have pictures. And then the next thing you do is you get them to picture a cat. You show them the word cat, and you ask them to stick that on the side of their cat. So audience, you ought to now have a picture of a cat with cat written along the side of it. And then you can spell cat, C-A-T, and then you can change the colour of the letters and do it in reverse, T-A-C. And so that's how you start teaching them how to visualise words. And the animal kingdom is really helpful here, because they've mainly got short names, and they're easy to put on the object. So there's cat, there's dog, there's pig, there's cow. Keep going until you get all the way up to giraffe or something.
Yeah. So
that's how you teach people to visualize words. And I will guarantee this. I've been doing this for 24 years, and I have never yet met anybody who is struggling with literacy who has got that skill. So all I do is I teach them. And I would love to know from anybody. You're more than welcome to contact me at empoweringlearning.co.uk and tell me if you've got a child who is struggling with literacy, who is already visualizing words. I haven't met one in 24 years. I've taught thousands and thousands of people how to do it.
No, that's incredible. I can imagine, I can understand the visualizing and how much easier that makes, because even when you ask me questions, and naturally I did look up and visualize my daughter in a uniform because I know that's what she's wearing right now. But to help a child or anybody that's struggling, because I mean anybody of any age can struggle with literacy, and I understand that, but for them to then be able to break things down and understand and have a look at pictures visually can actually make it so much easier. I know what colour uniform my daughter wears, I know what colour her hair is, but to visualise it makes it that much easier, even with someone that I wouldn't say I struggle with thinking about what colour uniform, so that's really quite.
And for example, when you've lost the car in the car park, you can visualise the car and walk around and look for it.
That's true.
The visualising skills are absolutely essential, and we're all born with them.
Yeah.
When we're born, we automatically have good pictures. And if you recall when your kiddies were 3 weeks old, I think it is, or 6 weeks old, you go in to see the health visitor, and one of the questions they ask you is, does your child smile at you? Now, they're asking you this because they want to know that their eyes are pointing in the same direction. It tells me that they've already got a picture of mum in their head. And if you remember, if mum wears a curly wig or some funny makeup or something, they may well cry because that isn't mum anymore. And that's why they cry, because you've just upset their mental images in their head.
Yeah, it's like confusion really for them.
Yes, exactly. And that's not mum anymore.
Yeah.
So don't do that to your children.
Yeah, key point, guys, don't do that to anybody actually, but definitely not your children. Do you go into schools and do these things, or is this a program that you offer to schools?
Well, it's a whole selection. I mean, I was doing loads of schools before lockdown, and then they said you can we shouldn't, because you're over 70, we really shouldn't have you in school anymore. This was in the early days of lockdown, so I've never got around to going back to schools. But I've been putting together a program called the Neurodivergent Toolkit, which has 7 modules in it, and it's got 3 modules available already, and it talks about our incredibly visual, talented people who've got these wonderful pictures in their head that, by the way, they were born with, and The second part is about how we learn anything. And the third part is about literacy. Oh, and the fourth part is about numeracy. And then I'm just writing the one for ADHD at the moment and high sensitivity. And so if you go onto the Neurodivergent toolkit, .co.uk, you will find it. And at the moment, it's got a really, really cheap price attached to it for all this material to help you teach your kids. And I should make a point about school, because school are teaching children phonics, which is exactly what they're being ordered to teach on the national curriculum. And that's an auditory sequential way of learning. It's all very much auditory. What you hear is what you write down. And a lot of neurodivergent kids really are finding phonics almost impossible. So what I like to do is to teach them how to do mental imagery at the same time as they're doing phonics. It doesn't confuse them. It means that they've got a picture in their head, so that when they're trying to add the phonics in, the phonemes fit into the word in their heads.
Which makes sense. As you've broken that down, that makes a lot of sense.
And I have a little video which is 5 minutes or 7 minutes, I remember which is which, on YouTube. And if you just look up Olive Hickmott, it'll tell you about, we are in school, we are going from visualizing things before school straight into phonics. And then we want them to get into word recognition so that they get fluently reading. And so what I've done is I've changed the order slightly. I haven't thrown away phonics. So they go into school with highly visual. They learn how to visualize simple words that name mainly one syllable, but then they can get, if they get good at it, they can get all the way up to elephant by visualizing words. And then they do phonics to fit the phonemes into the objects of the words. I'll say that again, to fit the phonemes into the words. And then again, it's there. But what we do will speed up phonics dramatically, because they will already have a picture in their head.
I just think I'm a parent, so I always like to listen out for little gems for my children personally whenever I listen to anything. There's probably teachers on here. I don't know if there's teachers. There's definitely parents on here. I'm a parent that's speaking to you. If you was to have the opportunity to pitch this to a parent or to pitch this to a school, I know you've done schools, but I'm just saying it just for argument's sake. What are the 3 things you would say would be a benefit to children? I know you've got a lot that you could offer.
Firstly, they will have more fun, because visualizing is actually a fun occupation. Secondly, they will speed up their dealing with phonics, which is definitely better. And thirdly, they won't get into this awful stress and anxiety mood of, I can't do it, I'm stupid, I am blah, 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 blah. And then they go down the incompetent, stupid rabbit hole that they can't do anything because they go and generalize it. So keep them happy and get them visualizing things, get them picturing things, and encourage the schools to do this really minor modification we've come up with. At one time, I'll give you a bit of background. At one time, there was people who wanted to teach word recognition, and there was people who wanted to teach phonics, and it was like a bit of a war going on. It isn't like that anymore, and people haven't been updated. What we do is we get them working together so that they've got internal pictures of their words and they've got phonemes, because they need phonemes for brand new words that they've never seen. You need to be able to break down a brand new word, but for words you see all the time, you need to be able to keep those in your head. That's true.
Yeah. The thing is as well, like what I really like about what you've just explained is that number one for you, which again, I'm speaking from a parent's perspective, number one for you was fun. Because I feel like learning for anybody has to be fun, but especially for children, when, a child's attention span is the greatest, it's not the greatest, that's the wrong term to use, but it's not as, you can't have a child sat there for many hours or many minutes and have them and expect them to want to sit there. So you need to make sure that what you're doing with a child is fun to keep them engaged with you. So the fact, actually, me as an outsider on the situation, just looking in and speaking to you, the fact that fun is number one, when I've just asked you off the bat, really, what would you, to pitch this to anybody, be it a parent, be it a teacher, what would you say is what's the three things you would pitch to them? And actually, fun being number one is really quite settling, because a child has to have fun when they're learning, because they'll want to learn again, they'll want to go back to these sessions, they'll want to do better, they'll want to learn more, you know. So I think that fun being number one is just really quite comforting as a parent alone. So
and teachers can learn this. We've got this online program now that teachers can learn. Oh, and by the way, it covers maths as well. I just like to mention maths, because some people think, oh, okay, we can read, but maths is impossible. And there's actually a module for maths, because when you're doing maths, you need to be able to visualize numbers.
Yeah.
And nobody teaches you that in school, because it's not the teacher's fault, I should make out here, because nobody teaches the teachers that children need to be able to visualize numbers in order to do mental arithmetic.
That's true.
You know, if you want to add 6 + 4, what are you going to do? You're going to do it auditory, or you're going to think of a 6 and think of a 4 and it makes 10?
Yeah, that's true.
And you're looking up again, you see. Don't stop looking up.
I didn't think you caught me that time. Yeah. This is why I remember you, because I remember just thinking, you allow people to think, and we're just having a chat. Do you know what I mean? So I can imagine how the children, or how any of your clients leave a session with you, you know, their brains are really working and in the sessions, but they're having fun whilst doing it. Because I mean, I'm having fun just having a chat with you, but I'm looking up, I'm thinking, I'm visualizing things. I just think it's really quite important, actually.
It is essential. And the other thing is that I did it. I was on a course at the Recovery College this morning about neurodiversity, and I was actually attending because I wanted to hear what was being said. And I asked the audience how many of them were visual learners and visual thinkers, and nearly all of them were. This is neurodivergent people are visual thinkers, and it's an exceptional skill to be a visual thinker. I mean, for example, for you, what do you use the ability to visualize for in your day-to-day activities?
What, to visualize the number?
Are you at work?
Me right now?
No, I mean,
general. No, I'm a stay-at-home mum at the moment.
Right. Okay. So when you want to do something creative with your kids when they come home from school, what do you think of?
I think, firstly, as a parent, I think about what interests them.
Yeah. And so how are you doing that? Are you imagining that? Sorry, I've just lost you on the screen here, but I'll have another go at getting you back.
That's okay.
Carry on. I'll just go on without being able to see you.
So so obviously, because I know my children, so my son's into cars, my daughter's into like nature, animals, things like that, dolls. So naturally, I'd like to think I would go down that road, because I know I'd keep them entertained for longer if it's something that is linked to what they like, if that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
That is my first go-to, would be what are they into, or always trying to implement what they're into before planning an activity. Yeah, so that would be.
And it's something they enjoy, and it's something that's probably creative and imaginative. For example, when they do you read them stories at night?
Yeah.
Right. Try this technique of ask your daughter or your son whether, instead of you reading a story, what would you like a story about? So, for example, if I asked you what you'd like a story about and you said an elephant, okay, so I picture an elephant, okay, and I go, okay, so what's the elephant doing now? Oh, the elephant's in a big jungle, and he's running through the jungle, and he's now jumped into a stream, and he's getting his feet nice and cool, and he's carrying on down the stream, and he's going to see his mate. And, you know, you're making up a story in your head. And that's what creativity is all about.
No, that makes sense. I'm going to try that. We've made up stories before, but not thinking about it from I've never really looked at it from the visual perspective. I feel like now I will, because obviously I've had this conversation. So naturally, it's nice to visualize what you're talking about, you know.
But the only problem you have with it is when your daughter asks you for the same story the next day, and you may have forgotten it.
Oh yeah, that's true. Actually, imagine if I get asked to tell the same story and I'm like, yeah.
You have to market it. This is a totally unique story.
Yeah, I'm going to have to make that clear to them. Oh, well, thank you so much. I still can't see you, Olive, but I just want to thank you so much for this chat. I feel I remember speaking to you. I do remember the conversation, because as soon as you mentioned the visuals, I remember. So thank you so much. I think your details are going across the screen at the moment. So for anyone watching, obviously, if you're watching on playback as well, you know, give Olive a shout if you want any support with your children. I won't even just say children. Anyone who's got that difficulty, give Olive a shout and get some support.
Please do. Okay. Sorry, I managed to lose you.
No, well, you're still there. We can hear you, even though we can't see you. What an absolutely fantastic show today. I've just been blown away. As I said earlier, absolutely blown away from both of our guests. The information is outstanding. If you're watching us on catch up, let us know. Send, just put a message in so we know. You'll be able to find Olive's details and Anita's details on our Facebook page as well. This evening is the Real Talk Show. Yes, it is. I was second guessing myself there. It is this evening. It's the Real Talk Show with Simply Deez. Starts at 7. Again, some really interesting guests are going to be on there tonight. So make sure you join them, and just hold on tight, because it's always an adventure on the Real Talk Show. Always. Anything else I need to share, Shelley, before I disappear? International Men's Day, of course, 25th of November, 12 till 5 at the Hat Factory. The entry is free. It's going to be an absolutely fantastic day, as usual. Absolutely fantastic day. So we are celebrating 9 years of Simply Deez events on the 3rd of December at the Hat Factory. Tickets are £5. You can go on via Linktree, and it's just, to celebrate the time that we've had. And I mean, I'm a newbie. I'm talking like I've been in 9 years, but I haven't.
Feels like you're part of the furniture now, isn't it?
I know. I can't get out. Once you're in, you can't get out. But it's just to celebrate, all the fantastic things that not only Simply Deez have put on, but all the people that have joined us, the people that have been involved, and everything else, So it's going to be a really, really good day. So 3rd of December, put that in your diary. I did think it was at the Irish Forum, but I didn't want to challenge that in case I was wrong, because quite often I am. So it's at the Luton Irish Forum. It's at the Luton Irish Forum, but it's still the same date, 3rd of December. So thanks for joining us, Samara. It's good to have you back.
Good to be back.
Thank
you, everybody. It's been lovely.
And see you all again next week. 12 o'clock next week, Tuesday.
God bless you.